Call to order our meeting, and looks like everyone is here except for Commissioner Moser, so we'll excuse him. And we'll move on to, doesn't look like anyone here is here from the public, but if anyone was, and they wanted to comment, they could do so. And we'll just move on to number 5, reviewing the minutes from January 19th, 2021 meeting. Did anybody have any comments on the minutes? Okay, a motion is made by Figueroa to approve the minutes.
Second.
Have a second by Ragland. All those in favor of approving, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Okay, motion passed. We'll now move on to our staff presentation by Director Anderson. And she'll explain this application for the rezone request, and let's go from there. Director Anderson.
Good evening, Commissioner O'Donnell and other commission members. I do want to start off first to let you know that the mayor, your term was up the end of this month, and the mayor has reappointed you. The mayor and council voted, so the mayor makes the recommendation, and the council voted to reappoint you for another term.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Good to know.
I think it's 4 years.
It's 4 years?
All right.
And also just an update on Buff Cunningham has decided not to ask for reappointment because of just personal conflicts. It was making it difficult for him to be here for the meetings. So we do have an opening for a planning and zoning commission member. If you know of anybody, we have applications in our office and online.
Okay.
And with that, I will start with the rezoning request. The Planning and Community Development Department is in receipt of a rezone application from Jerry and Sharon Scott, trustees of the Scott Family Trust for Graham County parcel numbers 101-14-003D and 101-14-003E. Parcel 101-14-003E was annexed into the city limits on February 11th. And was rezoned from Graham County General A land use to the City of Safford's AR Agricultural Residential District. Parcel 003D was already in the city limits. Parcel 003D consists of 0.12 acres, and mostly within the ADOT right-of-way. And then parcel 003E consists of 0.93 acres. Both properties are located directly to the south of 1615 South First Avenue. And the applicant is requesting that both parcels be rezoned from AR Agricultural Residential to C2 Highway Commercial. Per zoning ordinance section 17.2.020, the applicant is required to hold a neighborhood meeting on the rezoning prior to going before the Planning and Zoning Commission. A meeting notice along with the rezoning application was mailed to all property owners within 150 feet of the property. The meeting was held on March 2nd, 2021 at 5 p.m. at the Safford Annex Building, and the only member of the public that attended the meeting was Loopy Cleland, who is representing the seller. And you should have minutes of that meeting attached as part of your packet. They were quite short. Yeah, you do have them in there. So you also have a map of the property. Zoning ordinance section 17.20.020D states that all amendments to this title shall be made in accordance with the general plan. It is public policy that this title should not be amended excuse me, unless it can be shown that the change or changing conditions make the proposed amendment reasonably necessary for the promotion of the purposes of this title being both the zoning ordinance and the official zoning map. And as far as the general plan, goal number 1 of the citywide land use goals and policies states to ensure that future development is managed to achieve orderly growth. And goal number 2 of the citywide land use goals and policies states to plan land use, infrastructure, and economic development in an integrated manner to protect Safford's assets, achieve the quality of life valued by Safford citizens, and ensure the city's economic success while maintaining a regional perspective. Staff is recommending that the Planning and Zoning Commission recommend City Council to rezone Graham County parcel number, I'll just 003D and 003E from AR Agricultural Residential to C2 Highway Commercial for the following reasons. One, the zoning classification matches the zoning of other properties located to the north and northwest of these two parcels. The two properties are located on a major 5-lane highway, and the rezone request is in conformance with the general plan citywide land use goals and policies, goal number 1 and goal number 2. And I'll be happy to answer any questions should you have any. I did expect that somebody representing the seller was gonna be here at this meeting, but they are not, and I did not get a call from them that they would not be here.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Okay, what are they thinking they want to put in there?
The people that I talked to, well, first let me preface that by saying that what they put on the property should not be a consideration for the Planning and Zoning Commission, because if you rezone the property to C2, it's basically any of the uses that are allowed in C1
Yeah, I get that,
and
but
in
I just
C2.
wondered-
You can certainly ask the question. They have disclosed to me that they are looking to put a Dollar General store on that property. And so they are in the middle of their sale,
No,
their
the reason-
buying process.
The reason I asked that, Susan, was when I went up there and looked at it, I had a couple of questions in my mind as far as, what space and that type of thing. But also, I just wasn't sure, like I said, on the two different pieces of property. And so I just wondered what they were looking at. But obviously, the Cebus is right next to it.
Yes.
And so, it looks like
Correct.
looked like it'd be a great thing, but I didn't know if it was gonna be some type of a business or, exactly what, or a church type thing or what it was. I just
Yeah,
wondered.
should they pursue going forward with this project, then they would need to combine the parcels. They're already talking with Lance Henry, our city engineer and public works director, about on-site stormwater facilities. And they will need to do on-site parking and also landscaping, meet the landscaping requirements of our code. Additionally, they are having conversations with Arizona Department of Transportation regarding where their driveway access will be.
Yeah, I was curious as well, just because it looks at the neighborhood meeting, the notes say that you talked about and distributed the food item list. What is that?
What was that? I'm sorry.
It says we talked about and distributed the food item list.
Oh, that was Dollar General actually gave out a list of the type of foods that they carry in their
Oh.
stores, so there was a discussion about that. I have that list. It's mostly, there's a lot of frozen items that they tend to carry.
And the neighbor to the south had concerns about a potential of a commercial store. Were they just having concerns about privacy and traffic, or what were their concerns?
Actually, I talked to that neighbor this afternoon. She was unable to attend this meeting. She attended initially when we were going through the annexation process, and her concern was what type of business would go in there, and also that she has a residential property right next to a commercial. I informed her today and informed her once before that in our code, in the C2 district, it states that on specific requirements, it states that any new commercial development on property adjoining a residential zone shall provide a site obscuring fence 5 to 6 feet in height and other satisfactory buffer to protect the neighboring residential zone. The buffer which the developer proposes shall be clearly indicated on the building permit application. It'll also be clearly indicated on the site plan that they'll need to submit to go through planning and community development review. I've had conversations with them. They asked about keeping the chain link fence, and I said it needs to be site obscuring, so it needs to be a block wall or, a solid wood fence, that we wouldn't allow the chain link to meet that qualification.
Do we have that definition somewhere for what site obscuring fence means?
I'd have to
make
look
it
and see
clear?
if it's in the zoning ordinance, but certainly site obscuring means you can't see through it.
Right. I know sometimes people put slats and chain link fence.
They talked about that. I said that would not be approved by
Okay.
me as the planning and community development director. It needs to be more substantial than that. So that was the largest concern, was that adjoining property owner had is, you know, she has a young daughter, and if there's a lot of traffic in and out and they see into their backyard, they just wanted to have some privacy. They would also need to put this site obscuring fence along the rear part of the property.
That was my next question, yeah.
Because that also adjoins residentially zoned property. It's in the county, but it's considered residentially zoned.
I like that you're not allowing it to be chain link with slats because those always tear, they fall
Yeah.
off, and with wind,
Yeah, it's not a
it wouldn't
permanent,
last very
it's not,
long.
definitely not a permanent,
Right.
That's
site
def-
obscuring fence. yeah.
Definitely
So-
true. And even wood, you know, we don't see a lot of wood fencing here, stockade fencing, because it doesn't hold up well, given our temperatures and dryness in the area. So it's anticipated, and they've been, you know, talked to about this, that it would be a solid block wall, 5 to 6 feet in height.
And I've got a question. The reason to have the .12 acres, is that owned by the same person already? So, and it just all needs to be rezoned to C2 in order for them to get a driveway through there? Is that why they're including that too, or I'm,
The right-of-way section?
yeah, the little .12 area?
It is owned by the same property owner. They go together. This applicant will be required to combine those two parcels. They also need to get water, which is on the other side of the roadway, across the roadway. So that's something that they're working out with our water department.
I personally think it's a good use of the property, like your presentation states, it does match the zoning to the north. It meets with the general plan, it conforms with kind of where I think City of Safford wants to go with highway property. And I think you've done a good job of making sure that the residential property that's next to it gets that privacy.
I would think the residential property would be interested in where the driveways are going to be and that kind of stuff, but it looks like you're on top of all of that, so.
Yeah, additionally, you know, the block, depending on where the driveway gets located, the block wall may need to step down as it approaches the
Yeah.
highway so that it's not blocking visibility
Yeah.
along the highway as people are pulling, you know, out of this particular property.
And my understanding is ADOT has a lot of say in where those entrances and exits go on the highway, right? So
That's
ADOT's gonna have to plan it and approve it.
That's correct. It has to go, that's one of the first steps, like, when I was talking to them before they got any further in their design criteria, is to go to ADOT and talk to them to see where ADOT's gonna allow them to have their driveway.
You know, if I could make a comment, this doesn't have anything to do with this, but in some ways, I think it's interesting to know when you talk about ADOT and about the highway projects, because where I live, most of you probably know where my home is. They came to me in the city of Safford and said they needed to replace, right, there's a stop sign that you stop that to go out onto the highway. And trust me, that highway has really, grown as far as the number of people using it. Having said that, they said they needed to replace that telephone pole right next to the street, next to 20th. And it runs both directions from that telephone pole. It would go down 18th and then towards the hospital and towards Vinings. Having said that, they were gonna replace the one. So they come in and they pull all that out, put a brand new telephone pole in there, which was nice. Then they come back to me and said, there's a guy wire that goes out on the side there, and we can't put that guy wire back in, so now we need to put another telephone pole on. Because they're gonna put pavement in that area right up to the sidewalk. So now I have a telephone pole just almost in front of my house, a second one. They put a second telephone pole in. They have the one that was there, and then they put another one about 20 feet to the west of it. And I didn't argue with them, I just said, well, you know, I said, I guess if I could put some palms up there and match my neighbor's palm tree. But I said, seriously, I said, I just wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
But they couldn't use the guy wire down the side. So, they're pretty strict on what they do. So, anyway, that was a little bit different from what I expected. And then one other thing, Susan, that would help me, and I don't know, I don't want to be difficult or anything, but it would really help me if, when we get these maps, if we could put like an A or a B or something and tie it to where the site was. Does anybody else ever struggle trying to find?
Yeah,
Yeah, or at least parcel numbers, there's not
Yeah,
parcel numbers
I'll
on
have,
it.
yeah, I'll have our GIS
You know,
clearly identified.
like
Because there's
here-
not even, the key is so small, I could have put it on an extra page and you would have seen that the striped area is the actual area.
I went there and looked at it, and for the first little bit of the time I was there, I was looking at this, where it says C2 up in that area and trying to figure out, was it a portion of that?
Yeah,
And
I
I just
apologize.
thought if down there, and then when I was trying to figure out where's the second one of the two, and I kind of went through the same thing when we were doing another place, and I do like to try to go look at the property and
Yeah.
and check it out, so just a suggestion.
Sure,
Yeah,
Steph.
either label the properties or put parcel numbers would be
yeah,
good.
sometimes it's hard to tell.
From the
Yeah.
map, if they could, and put it on, if you could label it and put it on the map, I think it'd be great.
Sure, that's a good suggestion. I'll make sure when it goes to city council that the map gets changed.
Thank you.
Make
Yeah,
that clear.
tell them we're getting old and we need all the help we can get.
Especially me. You're cranky.
All right, does anybody have any other questions about this rezone request?
No, I agree with you. I think it's a good use of that area.
Yeah.
I mean, if you just think, if they do go through with the Dollar General, the closest one there is down at Roper Lake
Yeah.
Road, down in the county, and then the other one is in town, on Highway 70. I think it's a good use for that area.
I think if we can get all the entities to work together, ADOT, the city, the new buyers, you know, then maybe we can make as many people happy as possible. And it'd be good for us.
Yes.
Yeah, it's good for the community.
Yep.
All right, then, do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion. I motion that Planning and Zoning recommend City Council rezone Grand Park County Parcel 101-14-003D and 101-14-003E from AR Agricultural Residential to C2 Highway Commercial for the following reasons. The zoning classification matches the zoning of other properties located to the north and the northwest of these two parcels. The two properties are located on a major 5-lane highway, and the rezone request is in conformance with the general plan, citywide land use goals and policies, goal number 1 and 2.
Well done. So,
All right.
second.
All right, we have a second. All those in favor say aye.
All right.
Aye. All right, motion passed. Good stuff. All righty. Actually, sorry, I skipped. Excuse me. We don't really have anybody
Nope.
here, but I was supposed to close the public hearing, so excuse me for that. I shall close the public hearing.
No need to have one, nobody's here.
Yeah, nobody's really here, but to keep it official, we have already discussed. If there's no other discussion, then I say the motion passed. Is that okay? Do you want us to go through
I
it?
think you could go ahead and close the public hearing and enter into regular session with a vote.
So move.
Second.
All right, public hearing closed, moved into, discussion and
Which,
action. So we have a motion that has been read and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right.
All right, motion passed. So sorry, I got ahead of myself
You're
there.
good.
It's just with nobody really here, I kind of just went along too fast,
Yep.
but,
We're good.
all right. Director Anderson, do you have any projects and updates?
I have a few, so just to let you know, we have about 30 single-family residential houses that are under construction in one stage or another. Majority of those are in Copper Canyon. We have 2 in Terra Bonita 2, which is off of 26th Street and 8th Avenue, just off of there. There's 2 houses under construction, so that is an older subdivision from 2005, 6 maybe. They're starting to infill on that project, so we'll see more houses in that area. The Dorothy Stinson project, the new school is out to bid. And then once they select their contractor, then they will come to us for getting their building permit. We've already reviewed the plans and provided comments to them. The plans for the Dorothy Stinson project is that they will leave the existing school in place, build the new school behind it, and then tear down the existing school, and that'll become part of the parking area for Dorothy Stinson. The police station is getting close to being completed, and then the next step in that process will be renovating the existing police station, which I understand will be, will have their evidence rooms in that building, along with the detectives' offices in the older building. So that should be done. Hopefully, they'll get a certificate of occupancy within the next month or so. They still need to purchase furniture, I understand, for that building too. And I can't think of anything else offhand.
I keep hearing about an apartment building along First Avenue. Is there something along First Avenue being built?
Yes, it's, I think it's 40 units. They finally submitted their final site plan. They've gone through some revisions with their site plan. So there is an apartment complex planned along First Avenue.
Where's that located at?
Oh, I'm trying to think. There's a house on the property now, maybe 12th, along 12th Street.
12th Street?
Where's First
I'm sorry, I don't,
One,
191.
191?
Coming in.
Yeah, sorry, I don't have the
I keep hearing
exact
about, I keep hearing
location.
about a complex, the 40 units, where
Yeah,
is
that's-
that at?
That's pretty good
40
size.
units?
It'll be
That's a
two,
lot.
it'll be two-story. It's a long, narrow parcel. They've already gone through going to
In the area
ADOT.
where we're at, goodness.
And maybe it's by 16th. I'm sorry, I don't have
around
the
this area
exact
where we just
location of
approved?
it, but,
Could be, couldn't it?
You gotta
Could
use
be,
like,
but I don't know.
landmarks instead of street names.
well, yeah, that's funny. Yeah, every place is different, you know?
So it could be close to where we just approved.
Yes, yeah.
So will it be north of Circle K? Circle K is 14th,
I think it's probably,
That's
I think it's
14th.
probably south of Circle.
south of,
That's
Is
back
Circle K
towards-
considered 20th?
that's 14th Avenue, 14th Street,
Yeah.
Oh, so
Yeah,
maybe it's, no, I bet you it's north.
north.
I'm sorry, I've been gone for a little while, so my brain's not functioning really well.
Well, there's an existing housing area, like a multi-unit in there, and right over somewhere south, north of the.
Yeah, I
right
mean,
there
it is
north of
zoned,
single
it is
family.
zoned for multifamily, it's already zoned for that usage, there's a single-family house on the property. So they'll be tearing down the single-family house and putting in the apartment complex. Things are a little slow right now. I have, 3 fourplexes that are proposed for along 20th, over by Golf Course Road. That hasn't moved forward. I haven't heard anything from that particular developer. It was a person, I think, that was gonna build the apartments and also live there, occupy one of the units. My understanding is cost of materials now is extremely high. And even getting finishing materials like appliances is very difficult right now, and that's slowing things down. So we may have some projects in town that people are waiting to see how COVID happens into the summer and how we start getting shipments from overseas, and to see if suddenly prices will start coming down on materials used for construction. But we don't know. So that may be slowing things down.
Susan, I understand the city's, build a new place for the city council.
That's what I heard.
Be housed or.
Fourth or fifth, yeah.
It's a couple blocks that way.
Yeah, 9th and Central.
Well, Central's
Well,
what,
and
fourth?
looking at it, it looked like it was over there by,
Counts at the
Councils.
church, right at the church, next to the church.
Is it the
right by-
church?
Right by the church.
Yes.
Yeah.
where the church was?
Yeah, that's my understanding. I think if it's in that building.
Oh, okay.
So, and that will be the new council chambers, and will be the new planning and zoning commission chambers, and that'll open up this
Yeah.
room for library activities in the evening.
So will the
So-
the little car lot still be there, I wonder?
I think that's gonna serve as the parking lot.
Oh, okay.
I can't
You know,
picture
there's a
it.
little small parking
Up to
lot.
the church, up to the
Oh,
church,
okay.
'cause he has it was a storage
Central is
unit
what, fourth?
on the north side of it, and then the
Yes.
church, and then the parking lot.
Across the
It's-
street is the
you
old.
know where Council Son
the old
is?
Busby auction
Above the
Yeah.
bar.
Okay, there's Council Son, and then there was a
Right
building
And
there.
there's another
Okay.
church up
And
there.
they had a little
across the street.
Church of God or something.
Yeah.
Or used to be
Used to
Old
be.
Circle K.
Yes,
Yeah,
okay,
Circle
yeah,
K.
I would
And then,
get that.
and then next to it is a little car lot.
Yeah, yes, yes,
Mobile
yeah,
home.
okay, I'm on now. I don't know if this is in your area of where you will know or not, but I've had the question. And it's on 16th Street, the little extension down there where Scott Evans has some apartments.
I know
It
what you're
looked,
talking about.
it looks like a pole
Pole barn.
barn.
It's a pole barn.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, everybody asked it, I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, everybody, yeah, it's raising some people's, yeah.
Where's that at?
It meets our requirements. It's gonna have 2 apartments in it. So there'll be 2 apartments, and then this kind of big drive-in bay area that I'm not quite sure what Mr. Evans plans on using it for.
So it meets the height requirements.
yes.
And it is zoned for multi-housing.
Yes,
And it's gonna be some apartments.
2 apartments, 1 down and 1 up.
And he has that other building right next to it too, the building too, and then the shop there.
Yeah, I'd have to take a
there's 2
look at the
structures there.
permit. He split off some of the property. There was one, he built a new fourplex, I think that was out there, and then
I'll check it out.
he's, yeah.
I'm
Working
just
on this one.
curious about the access. It looked like it was just a single drive to enter to access the property.
Yeah.
Like, it just kinda looked like a little small, one car would fit down the road to get to the property.
Yeah, I would have to look at the site plan and see what he's proposing for that, but it's definitely standing out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And getting noticed by folks and neighbors and, yeah, and it's, you know, I'm not quite sure what he's gonna be pulling into those large bays. It looks like it could be a very large RV
Yeah,
or something,
I don't
so
know.
I'm not sure how, you know, it's not, it's, you know, it's considered residential, and what people do inside is, you know, unless it creates noise or odors or generates whatever to the outside world, it's usually not much of an issue for us. So we'll see.
All right,
All right.
thank you. If there are no other updates or any other questions,
I do want to say we will likely have a meeting next month. A couple of things I'll talk about. One, the potbelly pig issue passed, but the city council did not want to force this property owner to rezone their property. So I am going to do a text amendment that's going to be a cross-reference to allow them as a legal non-conforming use in the C2 zone, that they go by the residential animal control issues. And so they won't have to rezone that property, but that means another text amendment, a minor text amendment that'll come before you in the future. Also, there's been some modifications to the lot coverage. We talked about a lot coverage a couple months ago, and you gave a recommendation, and that's been modified a little bit. Also, the discussion of reducing the setbacks from 20 feet to 15 feet. The city council had that at a workshop, and it seems it's a consensus of the city council that they don't want to reduce that setback, and that was part of the Planning and Zoning Commission's recommendation. And the manufactured housing age limitation that you discussed at a previous meeting, that you recommended a 35-year. The city council is going to be considering 25-year limitation. And we don't know how that will stand over the course. It could be challenged legally. Not sure how that would fare. We'll just find out. So that's gonna go, the lot coverage and the manufactured home age will be going to city council for a second and final reading and vote, next Monday.
so the 25-year age of the manufactured home would apply for relocating.
For newer manufactured homes, could be used manufactured homes being brought into the city, and also for ones that might be moved from one location to another location.
So either a purchase or a relocation.
That's correct.
So we approved 35.
Yes,
They felt like that was too old.
they went with 25.
Okay.
See what I told you? See what I told you about?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if it comes up or if it's challenged, but I would think, one thing to consider is how, manufacturing codes for manufacturing homes, there's a big difference between 25 and today, or even 35 and today, and so I think you could justify the requirement, I think personally, just because of all the different code requirements.
Yeah, we'll see how it plays out with the Arizona State, it's under the State of Arizona Office of Manufactured Housing, so, we'll just see what happens with that. I'd also want to mention that there was a property that was rezoned for manufactured homes. It was the house that burnt down. Him and I have been in conversations to make sure that, because he has an older manufactured home, he wants to move onto that property. He has his paperwork in, the rezoning takes effect on March 22nd. So he has his zoning compliance paperwork that we approve, and then what he needs to do is immediately go to the county and get his manufactured home permit so that he is not subject to this new 25-year rule that actually will take place, will actually become effective April 22nd. So doesn't mean he has to have it placed on the property by April 22nd, but he has to have his active county permit prior to that date, and I'll inform him of that, and we've been in conversation. So even though that's gonna go into effect, you will see an older manufactured home moved onto that property.
Okay, sounds like you're on top of it, so that's good, because he, started his process before, you know, that age requirement even really got moving forward, so.
Yeah, that's correct.
So that's good. All right, then we'll be prepared to meet next month, and I'm sure you'll contact us with the date.
Yes.
If you already have a date.
Yeah, the third week of April. Is it the 19th? Okay. We'll notify you ahead of time. I have to get a legal ad into the paper, make sure that happens before we have the meeting, and so.
Okay. All right, then we'll wait for your notification. I was thinking we had to have an action to adjourn, but it doesn't say that. Do we not have to?
Nope, you don't have
Nope.
to.
Okay, then, meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you for taking
Good
the
job.
time here, I'll tell you. Appreciate
I
it.
kind of just rushed along.